Yo, what's going on, man? Y'all know who it is. Y'all seen his face before plenty of times, and if you haven't, it's me. Name is WeWantMoore. Listen, today we are touching upon a topic that I was supposed to do a long time ago, and I know I've been lazy, I've been slacking, but you know what? Today is the day. It is finally time. The time is now. You can't see me. My time is now. That's Justin. We doing Premiere Pro Basics Part 2. I was supposed to do this video a while ago, but y'all know me. I've been busy with school and work. But basically, if you didn't see Part 1, I'm gonna link it up top, somewhere up there. I can just click it, or I'm gonna leave it towards the end of the video so you can just press Part 1. But if you are one of those who've already watched Part 1 and you wanted to learn more about Premiere Pro, I'm your guy. All right, so today we are touching on a few topics that are not so easy, but you know what I'm saying, with a lot of practice and a lot of hard work, you guys can get this. It's not the hardest things in the world. Obviously there's gonna be a Premiere Pro Basics Part 3 that's gonna come up. That's gonna be way more advanced, but this one is gonna be more like for those who kind of want to, you know, get into making your videos look a little more cinematic. You want to get more into like audio a little bit, things like that. So today specifically, look at my book. All right, today specifically we're gonna be touching on adjustment layers, color grading, transitions, masking, and keying. These are all the topics that I know I grazed upon in Part 1. So today we're gonna like really go in depth. In order for me to do that, in order for us to do that today, y'all know where we're going. We're going to the laptop, man. So y'all seen the screen before, obviously in Part 1, but if you haven't, once again, go check out Part 1, because if you don't watch Part 1, some of the stuff I'm gonna say in here might be a bit confusing. All right, but I mean, unless you're like, you know, you're one of those who like already know Premiere Pro but you want to get more in depth, this is the video for you. All right, so we're gonna start off by importing some clips that I have in my hard drive. I haven't shot any new clips recently, so we're gonna have to use like something from, let's say, WeWantMoore or the Need to Know. Speaking of the Need to Know, y'all can go order them shirts, man. The pre-orders is up. A video with the shirts is coming out soon, so be on the lookout for that. Let's add these 3 clips here, or actually 4. All right, so the easiest topic of what we're gonna talk about today is transitions. Now, transitions, obviously you guys know, is how you get from one clip to another while making like this cool effect in between. There's a lot of different transitions out there. So let's just drag 2 clips on the scene. So we're just gonna drag 2 clips. Why did it do that? Push up. So in the middle of these 2 tracks, you're gonna see an arrow kind of pointing down. That tells you where the clip ends and where the next clip starts. Basically with transitions, you want to go to your effects tab, or okay, this is my panel space. You're not going to see this. This is what I created. So we can go to editing, which is like the standard for everybody. You're going to see this panel down here to the bottom left. It's going to show you your project, your media browser, your libraries info, and then there's going to be a tab called effects. Premiere Pro has this nice way of giving you video transitions. They also give you audio transitions, but that's more for like sound effects and everything. Today we're going to be focusing on video transitions. Now for my videos personally, I use presets. Presets are basically things that other filmmakers have created, or online sources like Shutterstock. I'm pretty sure that's a site. But mainly filmmakers, you know, either, you know, create their own presets for people to buy or people to use for free. So you can download them online. You can just search up on Google transitions Premiere Pro free, or you can search up transitions Premiere Pro and, you know, pay some transitions like glitch effects. You can search up whooshes and, you know, so on and so forth. But I'm pretty sure for most of you, you know, especially those who are beginning and don't, you know, really have that much money and you're not really trying to spend money on that, Premiere Pro gives you like the basics of the basics. So they give you transitions already to work with. So you're gonna go to this folder. It's gonna say video transitions. You press it, and it's gonna give you like 3D motion transitions, dissolve transmission, and basically every single one of them is like self-explanatory. So let's say, for example, you want to use a wipe transition, right? It's gonna give you 4. Let's see, let's go with gradient wipe. What you're gonna do, you're gonna drag it in between the middle of these clips. Now sometimes Premiere Pro likes to like not give you the option to drag it in the middle, so we're gonna go with slide, right? Slide is like, I'm pretty sure most of you seen it, like it slides the clip. All right, so drag it straight into the middle. Like I was saying before, sometimes Premiere Pro, when you're trying to put a transition, it doesn't allow you to put it in between 2 clips. So as you can see here, I'm about to drag it and it goes, it's not gonna allow you to put it in between 2. Sometimes it's gonna push it towards 1 clip and it's gonna look weird. Sometimes it goes to the other clip at the start. So what you want to do is, sometimes when that happens, you can click the transition within itself. It's gonna go into your source tab, and then you could kind of move it. So it's gonna say alignment, center at cut, start at cut, end at cut. You can press that center at cut. When you look back at it, clicks, it goes through. Now for this transition, if you want to make it faster, because obviously this looks kind of slow in my opinion, either click the transition and, you know, speed it up, or you can go within the clip, within the sequence, I'm sorry, and once you go to the beginning or the end of that transition, then like this red bar, you can click and hold, drag it from both sides. So you want to make both sides even, or you don't have to, but in order to make it faster, just make it a little smaller, and then so it goes faster. Now if you want to make it longer, it's the opposite way. Obviously you drag it to the longest point, and then it goes slower. All right, and that's basically transitions. Transitions is not that hard. As far as presets, if you want to go and, you know, get some presets, most times presets are going to come with instructions on how to do it. Because the presets are not from Premiere Pro's transitions, they're not going to act as transitions like this. So instead, you're going to have to like go and use an adjustment layer, which is another topic we're going to touch on, which is actually a great segue into adjustment layers. So what are adjustment layers? Adjustment layers is basically, it's like when someone is drawing and then a next person wants to copy that same drawing, but they want to do certain things to it, but they don't want to mess up the original drawing. That's what an adjustment layer is. Adjustment layers is basically, I can color grade, I can do with transitions, I can crop certain clips without messing with the original clip that's on the bottom. So this is what most filmmakers, either on YouTube or just in general, use when they want to color grade without messing with the original, or they want to, you know, make a certain crop with a certain like second or 2 seconds within the video clip without actually, you know, messing with the original. Because a lot of times when you mess with the original and you make a mistake, or you realize from the jump that it just doesn't look right, you're gonna have to completely start over and do it again. Whereas an adjustment layer, if you mess up on an adjustment layer, you can just delete the adjustment layer and start over. Okay, more times than not, I use adjustment layers for color grading and color correcting, because more times than not, when I'm editing within the clip, it's more likely cuts. I'm doing most of the times with the original source, I'm cutting or I'm cropping, and you can instantly crop a specific frame or cut by using the blade tool and just cutting out a specific point in that video. So I can just click that portion and, you know, either scale it up, I can, you know, change the volume within that specific area, I can change the position. Only that clip would be affected that I've already cut. Versus adjustment layers, you don't want to color grade on it. That's why adjustment layers for me personally work, which leads into another beautiful segue of color grading. Okay, now color grading is like the more advanced way of getting your videos to look cinematic. That portion in Premiere Pro where a lot of filmmakers like to adjust colors, they like to, you know, change up their exposure, their contrast, their highlights, their shadows, their blacks, their whites, just everything to make their videos look more like crispy and more, you know, indulging to the viewers eye. Now of course, again, I have my own panel, but for the sake of this video and for the sake of the beginners, we're going to use the color panel. Okay, Premiere Pro uses this thing called lumetri color. It basically helps with, you know, seeing your RGBs or your red, greens, and blues within the video. So you have a whole bunch of things here. We're gonna close this tab for now, and on your source tab, which is the left hand side, the top left, go on lumetri scopes. Now if you see this waveform, it has a whole bunch of information in it, right? As you can see in the video source that we have here, there's a bunch of colors going on, obviously with my shirt, Serena's shirt, our guest shirt, aka Loco. Speaking of Loco, go ahead and bump his album, go ahead and bump his music. Music is fire. You can see within this video there's a lot of colors going on. So this waveform basically is just telling everything that's in that clip. All right, and as it plays, the waveform moves, because, you know, when hand movements go on, you know, a new color has come up. When movement is happening, or a shirt flies up, or wind pushes something, a lot of colors like to move. So the waveform on the left hand side is just telling you all the colors that's within the clip. Before we get into color grading, we have to touch on basic correction. Now I'm not gonna go too hard on color corrections or color grading, because that's a video within itself. That's a lot to handle. So I'm just gonna show you guys the basics of the basics, so that you guys can at least like get some sense of what it is and maybe try it out for yourself. And then, you know, you can watch other YouTube videos, or if y'all want me to do it, I'll go more into depth in another video. But for now, y'all could probably go watch somebody else and, you know, learn more in depth about color corrections and color grading. Mainly for me, when I color correct or color grade, the first thing I look at is exposure, mainly to see if it's too bright, if it's too dark. And how I judge it is basically, sometimes I like to click the video source itself, and on MacBooks, there's a button, I don't know what it's called, but right under the escape tab, there's like this little wavy form, and I click it and I look at it at a broader screen to see if my exposure is right. And then, you know, you can use the temperature. Temperature is like the warmer and colder colors. With the waveform and the length, speaking of which, you never want the top to touch 100 and you never want the bottom to touch 0. 0 means that it's like pitch black. 100 means that it's like overly white. All right, so if you ever see it touch 100, you might want to like bring it down, and if you ever see it touch 0, you might want to bring it up. The 0 represents the blacks, so you want to push it up, and then the whites represents the 100. So the top is always the whites, the bottom is always the blacks. You never want them to touch the highest point, because that means it's way too bright. So I mean, I'm not going to do too much, because obviously like this is an old clip from like last year. But basically, you know, you want to like tweak with it, just play with it a little bit until you feel like it's right. Now everybody has their own way of like playing with color correcting and color grading, but basically you just want to make sure it looks right. So I'm gonna do this. I do this like constantly. Like it takes time to like color correct and color grade so everything looks right, especially if, you know, within the camera you didn't shoot at the right white balance, or like your ISO is way too high. I'd say for that, make sure you are shooting in the right camera settings before you actually jump into editing, because better your settings on your camera is, the easier it is for you to color correct and color grade. Yeah, looking at this, I'm not gonna say it's perfect right now, because for the sake of time and duration on this video. So after you feel like your basic corrections is done, you want to close this tab, and then you're going to go into the creative tab. Now this is just my process. There's no right or wrong way to color grade and color correct, but the only rule I would say is to color correct first. Always color correct first, and you always use an adjustment layer, and then you color grade. Now adjustment layers, there is no limit to it, so you can use adjustment layers for color corrections, and then you can use another adjustment layer for color grading. So you can click the second one and then go into, you know, your LUTs. Now what LUTs are lookup tables. Again, a lot of filmmakers create their own. That's why you see on like a lot of YouTube channels or a lot of videos, they'll say, yeah, you know, I have custom LUTs that you guys can purchase, or I have custom LUTs for free if you want to try them out. A lot of them you can download, but for the sake of this video, and I'm pretty sure you guys are beginners and you don't even know what LUTs are and whatnot, Premiere Pro provides you with a lot of LUTs so far. I personally don't like these. Kind of. I feel like Premiere Pro could have done better with the basics, but for the sake of this video, we're not going to go download a LUT, but you can if you want to. And more times than not, Premiere Pro's LUTs are like way too much, so the intensity tab is really helpful. Like you just pull it down like dramatic. But at this part, you know, you can change up your shadows, your highlights. Look at the wheel. If you want to make it more blue, you can go to the blue side. If you want to make it more green, move to the green. Highlights, again, makes it a little more green. And you always look at the waveform and see what's going on. So you can tell based on this that there's a lot of green, so you want to push that back. Yes. And as you can see, I'm looking at the waveform now, and I noticed that my blacks are getting way too low. So you can go back to the first adjustment layer, pull back the blacks a little, pull forward, I'm sorry. Now obviously it looks crazy right now, but I'm just basically showing you guys the tabs of color grading. The curves are kind of like, if you've used Lightroom or Photoshop, it's kind of the same thing. You know, it's changing up the hues, the saturations, and the luma effect. I'm not gonna go too much into that because I use it a lot, but I don't use it that often, if that makes sense. That kind of didn't, I know. Color wheels and match, again, touches the midtones, the highlights, and the shadows. We're not gonna touch too much on that either. Vignette, I don't use that much. It's kind of like it kind of has like that frame effect that, you know, it darkens or whitens the corners. I don't use it that much, so we're not. But yeah, that's basically color grading and color correcting. Now there's a lot more to it. Like you can download, you know, Colorista, or there's so many presets and LUTs and so many things out there to help with color grading. A lot of filmmakers, a lot of movie directors, and, you know, people who edit really work hard on color grading and color correcting because there's so much to it. To be honest, it's more of the advanced tab on Premiere Pro, but trust me, with practice and a lot of time and a lot of effort and just really digging down deep to see what looks best and looking at that waveform every single time, I promise you color correcting and color grading will be so much easier. And the last two topics, we're going to talk about masking and keying. Now this tab, let's go back. We could delete these adjustments layers. So clicking on a clip, obviously on your source tab, you see position, scale, rotation, all that stuff. Y'all seen this before. Okay, so we're gonna start with keying because keying is a little easier than masking. So keying is those specific key points that you want something to happen. So let's say with your audio, you want something to go down as the clip is moving forward, you would key. Or if you want a position to zoom up a little bit within the frame and then zoom out within the frame while it's still happening, you would key as well. So if you look at the source tab or the top left panel, or let's actually get out of the coloring panel. If you look at the source tab on your left hand side, you're gonna see next to position, scale, rotation, anchor point, opacity, you're gonna see like the stopwatch icon. So basically this gives, okay, so let's say for this clip, for example, I want it to scale up a little bit as the clip is moving along, right? Or for the whole entire clip, before I cut into the next clip, I want it to zoom from that point on. What we would do is press the stopwatch on that first one, and you notice once you press the stopwatch, a diamond key comes next to the scrub line, I guess, I don't know what you call it. And then you're gonna take the scrub line and move towards the end. Now wherever you want it to zoom in, so if you wanted to zoom in really fast, like really fast, like within 1 second, you would move up and then poof, it zooms up. So yeah, now if you notice, it zooms up within that. Now if you feel that was too fast, you can always take the second diamond that you created and just push it, the second diamond, and you could push it wherever you want. So towards the end of the clip, push it all the way towards the end. Now if you look, it goes slower. Okay, so that's basically keying. Now there's certain things to it. Now there's certain advances to keying. Like obviously you can, if you want to make it ease instead of it being so sharp and direct, you can highlight both of them, click and drag both of them, right click. On MacBook you could just use 2 fingers and you'll see on the bottom it says ease in, ease out. You can press ease in and it changes from a diamond to like a it turns from a diamond to an hourglass. All right, so now if you look at it, it looks a little more smoother. So yeah, that's basically keying. And the last topic we are touching on is masking. Now masking is a little bit difficult. It's not that hard, but it is a little difficult. Kind of got to be an artist here, but more importantly, there's a whole bunch of layers and everything that comes with it. So we're just gonna go to the basics of masking. So let's say for this clip, I don't like my skin tone. So you're gonna see under opacity, there's gonna be 3 tabs. There's gonna be an oval shape, there's gonna be a square shape, and there's gonna be a pen tool. Now the oval shape is basically what it is. It's basically a circle. So I can use that circle to, you know, outline me or that specific area. Same thing with the square. It's kind of like the square. I just outline that part. And the pen tool is a little different. I actually get to draw, so I get to be more specific about where I want it. It's not gonna be perfect. I've never made a perfect mask before, but for the sake of this video, like, you know what I'm saying, like it more times than not I'm using the pen tool, because, you know, more times than not when you're filming, like, you're not gonna have a straightforward shape of what you want. You're gonna have something. So basically you're just setting points down of where you want the mask to go. So let's just say just this part right here, we want to take this out, or not take it out, but we just want to adjust that part. So we have that, and then let's say we want to color grade, throw an adjustment layer on top, goes to the color tab, or let's go to basic correction, change the exposure on just that. That's what masking does. Masking is basically taking a specific portion of that clip, or not portion, taking a specific part of the clip, taking a specific space, there we go, and changing up whether you want to color grade, whether you want to, whatever you want to do with masking. Masking is basically, it's just like you're covering up a specific part of something else. Now obviously you can get creative and you can use masking for transitions. Like if you see, y'all seen on YouTube before where, like, you know, 2 clips that you could tell were not shot together, but like they stuck together and it looked like a transition. Masking is the main source of that. I'm not gonna touch too much in that because obviously I know the video just got mad long, but yes, that is everything. That is all I'm going to touch on. That is part 2 of Premiere Pro basics. I know it was a lot to take in. I had to learn all this on my own as well. And as far as Premiere Pro part 3, that will be coming soon. I cannot guarantee you guys that will be coming like very soon, but I have it in mind. I already know the topics I'm going to touch on, and I will teach you guys the advanced portion of Premiere Pro. Thank you for watching. Y'all know where to find me on social media, _WeWantMoore on Instagram and Twitter. I'm out of here. Until the next video, whether it's a vlog, tutorial, rant, or whatever it is, I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.